Welcome back to Offroad Outlaws, guys, and in this video, we're going to be talking about some incredible information that was just released by the developers, and they've gone in depth in terms of a brand new look at the next update, which looks like it's going to have all sorts of different types of in-game jobs and missions revolving around vehicle hauling, rock hauling, cargo hauling, logging, you name it. We have a bunch of different things to dive into today, so if that's something you're interested in, make sure you stick around for the rest of the video. Now first, let's talk about what the developers shared on Facebook, because this was kind of out of nowhere, but when I saw it, I was like, holy crap, this is huge. Now, they begin by saying, no, we are not shutting down Offroad Outlaws. Now, this is something that I've been seeing floating around, and it's weird because I've heard of some people saying, have you heard Offroad Outlaws is shutting down? That is 100% fake. And they actually say right here in this official post that the image going around claiming Offroad Outlaws is shutting down is 100% fake. The next three images, however, are not fake, and they actually go a lot more in-depth with these images than I thought that they would into the next update, and we're going to be showing high-res versions of those images in a little bit, but they've also said, do they know when it'll be ready? Well, they said as soon as it's ready. And what is the release date? Well, to be put quite simply, they literally do not know, but I urge you guys to be patient with them because the last update that they released was absolutely incredible, and I am extremely excited to see what they do with the next one. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the first image in a little bit more detail here. So this is a screenshot from the game, and as you can see it says available jobs, and you have from left to right name and then different cargo icons. You have a log, a tractor, a box, and what looks like a pile of rocks, and you have warehouse number 1, warehouse number 2, and warehouse number 3, as well as a bridge. Now warehouse number 1 is open, but warehouse number 2 and number 3 are both locked, and bridge seems to be what your objective is right now. Now, this literally looks like the potential for us to see some SnowRunner style jobs in Offroad Outlaws. And it also says to start a job, enter the nearest load station. So cargo loading stations are coming as well. Now, I'm sure your imagination is going to run wild with this, and mine definitely has, because this is a completely new territory for Offroad Outlaws to be entering. It's a completely uncharted space for Offroad Outlaws, so I wouldn't be surprised if it takes them a little bit of time to kind of figure out the fine details and the fine points of what this update actually does and the way these missions work, but I, for one, am extremely excited to see what this does for the game. Now, what's interesting about it is in that previous screenshot, we saw a log trailer being pulled by what looked like a Toyota. So that's, again, another really interesting detail. Next up, we're going to get a glimpse of what the map could look like in the next update. Now, on the left, it says you, job load location, job destination, your mark, tap to put, so it's basically a destination marker, and then rescue mission as well as your route. So rescue missions are another really interesting aspect of this because it's going to give you a more objective-based way to use the tow truck. Now, the tow truck has been one of the community's favorite rigs ever since it was released in the last update, and I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that it's going to get a lot more use here in this upcoming update. Now, I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section as to what you think about this new direction for Offroad Outlaws that they're going in with the next update, because it's really interesting to me to see them investing more time into that replayability factor of the game, but also investing more time into some elements that could really drive you to spend more time engaging within standard maps. And that also leads me into my next topic, which is things that could be added to custom maps. Now, here we see a screenshot of someone in the map editor, but this is extremely interesting because if you look on the side, you'll see obviously generate terrain, modify terrain, place objects, place routes, add mud, and manage map. But there's also, you have a setup area where it says 1 out of 5 jobs, linked props, playback, all of that good stuff. But the biggest one that I want to focus on right there is the 1 out of 5 jobs. So does that mean that we're going to be limited to 5 jobs per map in terms of custom maps? I'm not completely sure. They haven't necessarily released that information yet. And as far as linked props go, that could be different things that you interact with in terms of the missions. Now, I'm not completely sure on that because I am not a seasoned map creator. I don't really create maps in Offroad Outlaws, but I do have some close friends that do. So if any of you guys spend a lot of time creating custom maps in Offroad Outlaws, definitely chime in on that point in the comment section down below, because once again, I do a lot more driving in Offroad Outlaws than I do map creating. Now, one of the things that I'm extremely curious to see is how all of these additions affect your multiplayer experience. Will these carry over into multiplayer? Will they become elements of the game that will help fuel your drive to play more, not only in single player but in multiplayer as well? Only time will tell. We'll have to see on that. Now, circling back around to one of the topics we talked about earlier, I definitely am curious to see how they implement the bridge building. Now, will it be one item or maybe two different loads of items or things that you have to kind of rack up different amounts of in order for the bridge to actually appear? Or will it be built in stages, right? Like stage 1 of the project gets completed and then you have to activate the next stage of the project and then go and collect resources for that particular stage. Either way that they end up doing it, I'm sure it's going to be extremely engaging and extremely entertaining, because the cool thing about it is the fact that the Offroad Outlaws community is already very deep into creating their own roleplay scenarios. So I think that once you give them the ability to actually design these custom jobs, custom routes, and custom gameplay elements and custom missions, you really will open up the game to a whole new dynamic, and not only a whole new dynamic, but a whole new way for map creators themselves to allow people to explore their creations and experience them, because there are certain areas of custom maps right now that people may never see if they're way off in the middle of nowhere, or maybe if you have to do 1 or 2 or 3 different trails to end up seeing a certain vista of a map or a certain set piece of a map. There are a lot of people that are going to end up playing that map that might never see it, but if they have a mission that actually allows them to sort of build their way there, not only is there going to be a higher chance of them experiencing different set pieces throughout the map, but the map has more of an opportunity to tell the player a story or allow the player to create their own story within that particular map experience. Now, personally, I see a lot of people gravitating towards the towing missions. I definitely think that that's going to be a popular dynamic of the game, the vehicle recovery. And vehicle recovery missions, I think, are going to be the main thing that a lot of people go for first, and then maybe the construction or logging aspects maybe later. Or, I don't know, maybe people will go the opposite direction and do the logging and the construction stuff first, and then save the vehicle recoveries for after that. Now, I'm not really sure which avenue is more beneficial to you as a player, but I would imagine that it would serve the player better to build their infrastructure first, build their bridges first, build their, their road systems and their warehouses first, and then maybe take on the tasks of recovering different vehicles. But once again, that's my own personal opinion, and I could be completely wrong when this update comes out. Now, don't worry, I'm going to be diving straight into this update the moment it releases. We don't know when that's going to be yet, but the moment it releases, we'll be diving straight into it, both in video form and in live stream form, and up until this update's release, I will be covering it as closely as I possibly can. Now, one more thing I wanted to discuss about the trailers, and more particularly that log trailer that we saw in the screenshot earlier in the video, is that it looks like it's a pull-behind or a bumper pull style trailer. Now, we haven't really seen anything else yet as of recording this video in terms of additional trailers, but I would really like to see the addition of a gooseneck variant of that trailer. Now, I don't know what the variety of the lumber we're going to be able to carry is, but I would hope that we have maybe a variety of shorter sections of lumber or longer sections of lumber, and, certain ones that can only be pulled with the shorter trailer and others that can only be pulled with the longer trailer. So if that is the case, I would definitely hope we'll get to see a gooseneck edition of that log trailer later on down the road in the future. And maybe, I don't know, I would love to see a semi-truck variant, but the other thing about that is we would need to have a semi-truck first. Now, I know there was that image floating around a while back of a semi-truck in Offroad Outlaws, but it ended up being just, like photoshopped in there, so it wasn't anything official, and so that's why I didn't really cover it. But at the end of the day, it did bring up the debate of how it would be really, really cool to see a semi-truck in Offroad Outlaws. And I think that with the addition of logging coming in this next update, it would also be a really cool way to tie in the addition of a semi-truck and really kind of, make it functional within the space of the game. So I don't know, that could happen, it could also not happen. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one, but I'm at least hoping for a gooseneck variant of that log trailer that can be pulled by maybe some of the heavier duty pickup trucks. It would be really, really cool to see. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you have any other thoughts or opinions on the upcoming Offroad Outlaws update, let me know any of those thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And if you're new around here and you would like to stay as up to date as possible, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, and I will see y'all in the next one.